Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Raceface.Pro for round 4 of the iRacing GT3 Pro Sprint Division. And I am really excited about tonight because it is Snetterton. It is all about Titan twisties with some incredible pace and some incredible action out here at Raceface.Pro. I do want to take, however, a moment of your time just to have a brief moment of silence. Last week we lost Ryan Ottens, an incredible sim racer, an incredible mentor, an incredible rider, and honestly, an incredible person. So we'd like to take this opportunity just for a moment to remember the life of Ryan Ottens and let the family know. Friends, family, teams, we're all with you. And in these difficult times, are behind you. Thank you very much, everybody. Well, let's talk about the racing we have tonight because it's our GT3 Pros and we've got some incredible racing action on iRacing. But let's take a look at our points because this is where it gets a little bit on the wild side for all our competitors. So Julian Familiaris will be going and looking to run ahead of the points. Apologies. So it's Yuri on P-Swat leading out the points with Justin Eloff in second place, 1 point off first place. In third place, Julian Familiaris going and tying it up with Luke Lucchese and Robin Bricknick in this running order. Ryan Ottens, unfortunately, will not be on the grid, but his memory will always be on the grid with us and currently holds the championship for the Gen 3 Supercars, our first champion for our Gen 3 Supercars that raced last week. Ryan Ottens holds that crown, and everyone is racing for second place in that and misses him dearly. Seventh place is Gianluca Fabio, along with Sean Stradham, Christopher Radloff, Byron Mitchell, Bego Krobler, Paul Herber, Luca Logovic, Yasin Ismail a little bit down in 14th, along with Danny Herber, Henry Mayer, Jean Jans van Rensburg running in 17th. 18th is Bradley Surley. As we continue down our running pack, we've got Jason Kutsi, Fleming Bauer, Jaco van der Lith, Yaz Samai, Jacques Evers, Sergei Sarkov, Werner Skuman is down in 25th position. Noah Hendricks a little bit further down, along with the likes of Werner Swart, Nico Killerman, Mark Heron, Johnson van Arswagen, Bert Kildenay, Stephen Kutzer, Farstar, Sean Sims, Ruan Detoy, Mario Rez, Daniel Rowe, Chris Erasmus, Florian Keller, Malcolm Pringle, Cabello Matsumai, and Gerald Familian will be rounding out our pack in our pros. So, a lot going on there. Let's talk about what's going on out on the track as Justin Eloff looking to try and set times ablaze, running in second place as he charges to the sharp end of the field. He is just behind Yuri Umpi Swart, that's running with a 146.5 at current, trying to really step up that pace and close up to Yuri Umpi Swart in the Honda NSX. That has been an incredible car to keep an eye on. Low temperatures means this turbocharged car is going to have a ton of fun out there. Justin Eloff in the Porsche will have to really keep his wits about him. Sean Stradham running down in third place with Julian Familiaris running in fourth place. Now, we had a chat to Julian Familiaris on his incredible efforts going and fighting it out with the Gen 3 Supercars, despite leading the championship, going and saying, look, spoken to everyone else, we want Ryan Ottens to be the winner of this because he deserved it. So a big shout out to him. And he is out in the Ford Mustang, which is actually very similar to what he's got sitting in the garage at home with Franco Damatio. Werner Skuman a little bit further back for the Pandacity Esports, the Angry Panda, showing off what he can do. Lying in fifth place, Ed Bradley Surley, Sharks Ever running a little bit further back in the Rhino utility colors, going and fighting it out, trying to push his way up through the order. Absolutely incredible to go and see how the Jacques Evra has really improved as a driver from Pro-Am to Pro. A little bit further down, Luke Leclerc going and really stepping it up, and also in tribute to the life of Ryan Ottens, going and wearing the Alpha 1 Esports colors, and will be taking it to the line. He's hoping to get that checkered flag and representing a good friend as well as a team that was birthed by the likes of Ryan Ottens. A little bit further back, Bert Hildenace in 9th, Mark Heron running in 10th, 11th, Johnson van Arswagen in the Jutech colors, trying to keep ahead of his teammate, but Nico Killerman gets that pass done and dusted in the times. SMI runs in 11th, so Johnson van Arswagen runs in 13th. 14th is Jacco van der Linth out on the track. Bego Grobler a little bit further down the order with Paul Gerber rounding down the pack, trying to put in a lap time, and Noah Hendricks waiting it out in the pits. But top of the board though, Justin Eloff with a 1:45.914. Jurien Pissoart trying to find that 1/10th of a second to really close down the gap to the likes of Justin Eloff. Julian Familiaris also on a hard push to try and make up a bit of time. Currently, he is up in his delta, so he's really trying to see where he can go. As we're going to try and bring up our qualifying modes, and we can see Julian Familiaris in the second sector really picked up the pace. Can he make it work in towards the final sector? The Mustang getting a little bit unstable. The weather conditions, very, very foggy and misty out there. That makes it rather difficult to see those brake markers and get it absolutely perfect to launch your way around the circuit, as Jurien Pissoart will be looking to try and claim that first place, and Julian Familiaris unfortunately not able to jump up into the top two, but does line first of the second row. Jurien Pissoart comes across the line with 1:45.955, not close enough to make the impact. Bradley Surley a little bit further down, also trying to pick up his lap times, doing a 1:47 dead. He's hoping to really keep that going, as Luke Leclerc will come across the line. He's improved in the last sector, moves himself up into 6th place, ahead of Bradley Surley, who will be trying to round the final sector in through the Williams corner, and just not able to make it before the end of qualifying. Wow, oh wow, we're in for a race and a half, folks. Our Pro Division, very, very close in times, but we'll have to see how it all works out during the course of this race. Mandatory pit stop that needs to be done, 45 minutes of racing, and so much can go on here at Snetterton. Put a wheel wrong, and you're in the world of trouble. Justin Eloff leads out the pack with Yuri Pissoart running in second place. Only lost out by 0.4 of a second. Julian Familiaris runs in third place along with Sean Stradham. Werner Skuman in 5th. Luke Leclerc takes 6th. Bradley Surley along with Jacques Evra, Bert Hildenace, Bego Grobler, Mark Heron, and Yassamai running in 12th. A little bit further down the order though, we have got Jacco van der Linth, Nico Killerman, and Johnson van Arswagen, along with Paul Gerber, and rounding out our pack, Noah Hendricks, looking to stand at the sharp end of the field as we do take a look at the cars starting to line up here on the grid. Justin Eloff now will be taking the fight to Jurien Pissoart. Remember, they are separated by a single point in the championship, so both have everything to lose in this race by falling down the order, as they're not too far off the back of the pack in their race. So it's going to be a tough time. I do think we're going to see drivers having to really go and push that extra little bit to ensure they can stay in for the sharp end of this race. Going to be a tough one out there with a fantastic field of absolute pros. Now, running at the same time, we do have a Pro-Am division that will be racing for their top spot. So Justin Eloff will get ready to go behind our Porsche safety car, lined up with Yuri Pissoart in second place. Justin will have to try and be well aware of the Mustang behind him, of Julian Familiaris, who's not looking to fall too short to the likes of Sean Stradham in the McLaren, hoping that he's going to be pushing that a little bit more. A quick moving left to the right to warm up those tires and get it all sorted out. A couple of drivers coming in. Yes, am I've got to say, multi-talented, going and even replying in the virtual grandstand, sending a message out to us here in the commentary box with a big wave and a hello, and a hello to Yaz. Good to see that you are going to be having a bit of fun out on the circuit. Hopefully all goes well. And with knowing Yaz, he's worked out this track rather well. Knows the apexes, measured it out, knows how to get you. One of the drivers I'm really concerned about being on the track with, because that man measures you out with a measuring stick. He knows exactly what you're going to do. His crystal ball is definitely well charged to work out your future. But Justin Eloff and Yurion Piswad are not going to concern themselves too much there. Julian Familiaris and Sean Stratham. Werner Skuman will be a little bit further back, lining up against Luke Lucchese, and it's going to be a very interesting time. Werner Skuman, incredible racer, will be lined up against Luke Lucchese. That is a old dog to going and fighting it out with some incredible competitors as our competitors make their way around. Lined up, ready to go, green flag, and away we go racing. Justin Eloff trying to get the best start he can, heading into turn 1. He's going to have the advantage. Julian Familiaris looks for the inside, couldn't get the pass done. And Yurion Piswad around the outside, the little Honda, doing everything possible to hang on at this point. Immediately, side by side they go, and Yuri trying to close that door off early, understeers out wide, and that has now allowed Julian Familiaris to have a look to try and get by. He immediately has Sean Stratham lunging on the inside to try and lock it down, as it's still side by side for our top 4, only now starting to slot into one another. Yurion Piswad moving left to right just to try and see where can he get a pass done and dusted. Sean Stratham up into third, gets ahead of Julian Familiaris. Werner Skuman nice in the toe with the Pandacity Ferrari, hoping that he can just get a little bit more of a run. Luke Lucchese trying to go late on the anchors to bring it back. Bradley Surley a little bit further back in the Pandacity Esports Ferrari, also trying to keep the pressure up on Luke Lucchese ahead of him, as the mist is absolutely a nightmare out on the circuit. Jacques Ever a little bit further back, keeping on to the toe. A little bit further down from there is Bago Krobler. Likes a bird. Hildenace trying to make his way around. Paul Gerber has had a great run, but Yasamai looks up on the inside, couldn't quite get the pass done. The Audi R8 immediately having a concertina effect against his very own teammate, Mark Heron, who has now got Jakob van Lith keeping that pressure. Johnson van Arswagen and Nico Killerman going and working together. And behind the pack, though, is Noah Hendricks, as he tries to keep on to the running order. So far, all the drivers really pushing as hard as they can, not trying to get through those track limits. Now it's all about conserving those tires a little bit more. Yurion Piswad losing the toe to Justin Eloff will slowly get pulled in by Sean Stratham, who's got Julian Familiaris constantly on the back of him. Oh, Werner Skuman very, very wide on the exit of turn 1. Now has Luke Lucchese for company. Looking left, looked right, couldn't quite get it. And it looks like Jacques Eber doing exactly the same. Going and having that rear, stepping out on him. Not able to go and bring it back as quick as he would like. And drivers having to really think out of the box here, as Luke Lucchese keeps the pressure on Werner Skuman, but dealing with Bradley Surley behind, who's not going to give him a easy time through. Bradley is also watching his mirrors, and Jacques Ever is pushing a little bit harder to stay in for the fight. Mike Heron getting the pass on his own teammate, Yasamai, as they slot in together. Jakob van Lith immediately going and seeing that there is a fight needing to be happening in front, because these two are going to really push one another and try and give it a slip to break out of the train. Nico Killerman, who is no stranger to getting into dogfights, will look to try and stay in for the fight, as Yasamai will go side by side with Mark Heron. Both cars just doing whatever they can to keep it all together, and immediately Jakob van Lith looks for the inside, had to break a bit early there, couldn't quite get the pass done. But seeing the teammates are not working in proper unison, they are actually fighting it out. Noah Hendricks gains the position over Johnson van Arswagen as they move their way through. So drivers keeping it fairly clean out on the circuit, only dropping a wheel onto the dirt nothing too crazy out there, as drivers are looking to see where it's all going to end up for them during the course of this race. Luke Lucchesi looks for the inside on Werner Skuman. Whoa, big jump over the curb and saves it. That Porsche 992 just going and keeping it all together, and immediately Bradley Searle looks for the inside. And Bradley Searle going and making his way through. So Bradley needing to see where he can go. And this is, Bradley Searle, who is really trying to keep the toe at this point on the rear wing of the likes of Luke Lucchesi, who's carrying the colors of Ryan Ottens, and even on the rooftop of his car, try and see if we can go to a bit of a chase view would be the best one to show off what is done in tribute livery. And you'll see on the top, in memory of Ryan Ottens, with a big picture on him as well. So a big shout out there going to a friend that forever sat in the Discord chirping him and waiting for that send. Well, look, talking about sends, Bert Keldernace going and getting the run on Bego Grobler. So Johan Bego Grobler will be dealing with the Ferrari 296 up on the inside. Couldn't quite have the straight line. Going to go late on the anchors though to just try and keep it all together. And Bert's doing everything he can, nipping at the heels. Unfortunately, not carrying enough momentum through the corner. We'll have to just wait out a little bit longer. This long right-hander is an absolute nightmare with a very late apex at the end. You're just going to have to make your way through, slam it on the anchors, drop down the gears as quick as you can, and back onto the power to ensure you stay in the race as we jump on the roll bar of Kildenace at the moment, who is still keeping in that toe. Couldn't quite get the drive he would like out of the corner, but let's see if he's going to be a little bit later on the anchors. The Ferrari 296 is incredibly quick in this regard and has been one of the most consistent fighter cars that you can get in the iRacing service in the GT3 classes, due to it's also the most friendly. Oh, as we do see that, was Bego Grobler slightly blinking out of existence there and came back. He's just going and visiting the Shadow Realm by the looks of it. He is back in and still running, which is thankfully the case as we jump a little bit further back and see Kildenace losing out that little bit of momentum, is now losing out the drive a little bit further back from them. Mark Heron as trying to keep Yaz Semai busy. Jakob van Lith dealing with Nico Killerman. But back up to our top four. Julian Familiaris, after losing a position off the start of the race, now trying to make up some time. Sean Stratham with the McLaren 720S Evo will have a huge amount of advantage through the corners, not worrying about too much understeer that will come out of the car. It actually has great rotation underneath it. But the one thing that the Mustang has over majority of the vehicles out on this grid, and it's able to attack the curbs a lot harder than the mid-engine counterparts. He's hoping that that's going to work out for him a little bit further on as he uses a brute force Mustang V8, the all-American muscle, and just really leans in. Not taking as wide as I would expect though from the driver, taking a little bit more of a shallower line to ensure he keeps it through. Currently leading out the pack though, Justin Eloff will be standing at the top, but Yurion Piswat going and improving and getting the fastest lap time of the race. So he is properly staying in the mix here with 146.34 over Justin Eloff's best time of 146.42. So really hoping to just try and close down that gap as quick as he can and maintain as much pressure on the cars ahead of him, because what he wants to do is slowly chip away at those tires, cause him to hit an absolute drop-off point and not able to stick it through to the end. As we do see our Rhino Utility, one of our main sponsors here at Raceface.Pro, fighting it out with Yaz Hamai of the Asymmetric Racing team. And he's really trying to keep into the toe with that Audi R8, one of the only Audi R8s on the course. And he is really showing what it can do with brute force of that V10 screaming like there is no tomorrow, hoping to stay on the back of the Ferrari 296, that V6 turbocharged ahead of him on his teammate to stay in the toe and keep himself alive during the courses of the battle. As we haven't even reached the 10-minute mark, drivers are now considering what they need to do to consist through or get a consistent pace through the entirety of the race and ensure that they can keep these tyres alive as long as possible. A couple of people jumping into the virtual grandstands, and do my eyes deceive me? Tristan de Norbrigger going and being one of those is sitting in the virtual grandstands, cheering on his friends and teammates, going and saying, come on guys, you get going, otherwise I'm going to have to teach you how to drive all over again. One of the RDSA drivers will be watching very closely at quite a few of his friends, such as Yuri Umpi-Swat, Julian Familiaris, Luke Lucchesi, who is part of the RDSA, but it's late braking for Sean Stradham, and that cost him a huge amount of time, as Julian Familiaris got immediately a huge drive on the inside. Couldn't quite get the hammer down as hard as he would like, but it's starting to show there is cracks building in this third place battle, and also the likes of Justin Eloff starting to feel that pressure from Yuri Umpi-Swat. So first, second, third, and fourth, all in a fight with one another, and a drop-off is starting to be shown by the leading cars compared to the following counterpart. Just going and applying enough pressure to stay in for the fight will go and land up with these cars really pushing the boundaries. You can see going and starting to rack a little bit of those off tracks, and that may land up in a bit of loss of position. Justin Eloff, though, going and losing out to Yuri Umpi-Swat, and that looked like it was a lift. Let's quickly go back and take a look on the replay, and yes, it is. It looks like Justin Eloff coming off the gas, allowing Yuri Umpi-Swat to get on by, unfortunately losing a lot of that toe that he necessarily needs to try and keep ahead of Sean Stradham and Julian Familiaris. So he's going to have to battle it back and try stay in for the mix as our drivers keep it all together at the moment, not wanting to lose track of the cars ahead of them. A little bit further back though, a nice little battle starting to brew. Nico Killerman and Jaco van der Lith, two drivers that have been constantly trying to improve their times and have been hard at work. I cannot stress that enough. These two have been one set of drivers that you keep an eye out for on the practice. They do land up catching the wall once, twice, three times more, but they are at the hard push to try and improve every single time, wanting to not only go for a win, but on a bit of discussion with Nico Killerman, said he wants to work on his consistency the most, hoping to go and beat his personal best and do it consistently lap after lap after lap, even though the tires are starting to drop off. And that really does show how drivers are taking that next step. Jaco van der Lith, though, losing that next step as he's stuck on the outside, and Nico Killerman getting the pass done and dusted. We just caught that coming by, and now he is in the tow, pulling himself along, hoping to stay in for the fight. It's going to be a hard one, though, as we already see Nico Killerman in that McLaren starting to open up the gas and really start trying to pull away from the drivers around him. So not wanting to be caught out in the mess just as yet, and he wants to rather keep up the momentum. So how are we going to really get going? That is the question. Yes, am I going and keeping himself all together, launching his way around? And I've got to say that we've got Yaz Samai out on track, and yet also responding, texting in the vehicle, maybe left the phone with the team to go and give some reports. Bit of an interesting one. Goes out a little bit wide. Don't get too camera shy now, Yaz, as you make your way around the circuit, currently lying in 13th position as he's on the chase to Mark Heron ahead of him. His fellow teammate of the Asymmetric Racing team that have done incredibly well in their last race in the Overseas League, actually getting very, very close to those podium positions. Absolutely great to see the different teams coming in. Paul Gerber finally getting a break from the mini-boss, who is his little child telling him what to do, and he is back behind the wheel, enjoying every effort on the way through. Also had a discussion with him. He's looking forward to some of the big events coming up in iRacing, such as the Sebring race that is to come. He's hoping to have a bit of fun in the Sebring 12-hour, and also later towards the Lamar 24-hour, working with fellow family member Do Herber in through the battle as well. So, as time's starting to open up and drivers starting to see what they can do as they launch their way through so far, Urian P-Swat leads out the pack with Justin Eloff. Sean Stratham runs in the third place for the Logistical Nightmare Racing team, and he's got his very own Logistical Nightmare Racing team standing on the grandstands of Jacques van Vermillion, who will be on radio comms, busy cheering on Sean Stratham, saying, don't make a mistake. Do not pull a Sean Skitter. Let's not have that going on. Let's try and keep going. And the worst of all, don't be a Paul Fenter towards the wall as he maintains the third place, but constant pressure from Julian Familiaris in that Mustang and is absolutely howling behind the back of him, really closing up as we jump on board with this absolute monster of a GT3 car. You can see the McLaren 720S just able to get that rotation working out rather well. Julian Familiaris not wanting to push the nose out too hard on the car, not wanting to scrub those tires too hard as well, as he looks to try and carry the momentum through, but is late on the anchors, more confident in the center part of the circuit to ensure he can get the racing done. Hopes to really keep himself at this bit of momentum, but it is going to be a tough one, and I am starting to see these cars racking up a fair amount of points out on track, as we do have a unfortunate incident. Noah Hendricks, yellow flags for him. So let's quickly go and take a look at Noah Hendricks as he was making his round. So he's a little bit further back in the field, lap down at currents. Oh, the Ferrari just getting a tank slapper, and man, oh man, he brought it back. Well done. Noah Hendricks going and showing off a little bit of a drift, and we'll have the leaders of Urian P-Swat trying to get round him, not to lose too much time behind Justin Eloff. I gotta say, great catch. Generally, when the Ferrari lets go, it really lets go. It doesn't give you an opportunity to try and save it. But now we're going to see a awesome little battle as the track's starting to heat up, the mist starting to lift, and drivers starting to get a little bit more visibility out there. As said, though, it is all about keeping that consistency. And as time goes on, wheels are dropping on the dirt, which means we may see drive-through penalties start coming through and knobbling a few of the drivers, as we do see Noah Hendricks giving a position and allowing the likes of Justin Eloff to go and by. But we are watching Sean Stratham and Julian Familiaris, our closest fight on circuit currently, will have to get past Noah Hendricks without compromising their own drive. Now, Julian Familiaris can box the likes of Sean Stratham in behind the Ferrari, or it may be the other way around. Sean Stratham can go and lose out that little bit of drive, line the likes of Julian side by side with him, and utilize Noah Hendricks as a little bit of a stopper to get his way by. So this is going to be a bit of an interesting time, battling for third place at the moment and looking for a bit of supremacy in the points between one another. Sean Stratham is on a monster charge, hoping that it's going to be enough, as he does take a very shallow line. He's now following in the tow, sees the like of Noah Hendricks moving out the way, trying to utilize a little bit more of that slipstream before getting on by, and Julius Familiaris going to say thank you very much as well, as there was no problems on that pass at all. Well done to Noah Hendricks. That slight lift definitely makes a difference in the running order, but how long now? Sean Stratham is running 8th in the championship, and Julian Familiaris running in 3rd at current. There is drop rounds though, and that may come into effect to help out the drivers through the entirety of this race, as we do see Sean Stratham trying to break away from Julian Familiaris a little bit further back. Paul Herber losing a bit of time though, as he's now got Mark Heron trying to close up that gap to him, immediately seeing if he can stay in for the fight. Luke Lucchese with Bradley Searle, who's hoping to make up some time. Bradley, part of the Pandacity Esports racing team, and he is looking to carry on a bit of momentum as Jacques over into the dirt. Nice save for him, but dirt on the tires means that this McLaren's going to get a little bit light on the rear. He's having to take a little bit more gingerly around the corners, but wanting to stay on the back of Bradley. Bradley trying to utilize a bit of momentum that's been used by the Pandacity Esports team, and their current runs with Valorant and such. So they've had some really good events and good runs in some competitive esports across the board, and Pandassi hoping that they can carry that exact same momentum all the way through. We do have a car that went off circuit, and that was Johnson van Arshagen, unfortunately outbraking himself. We did catch a little bit that in the camera, and he's able to return to the circuit without too much of a problem at this point. Sean Stradham still opening up from Julian Familiaris at this moment, but we will start to think about the long game here. What's going to be done in terms of pit stop strategies? How are we going to do this? One mandatory pit stop is needed by all drivers. Change of tires, drop down, get going once again. Means you can burn this rubber. Go and do what you need to do. But when are you going to do the pit stop? That is the question. As we get closer to the 20-minute mark, this is generally where we start seeing some of those earlier pit stops creeping in and drivers starting to utilize it. Justin Elof, though, going and doing a 146.31 over Jurian Piswart's 146.49. Puts him in as the fastest lap of the race. Luke Lucchese going and improving his personal best at currents, which is absolutely fantastic to see. And drivers hoping that they can keep ticking away at this little bit of momentum. We're starting to see those gaps open up a little bit more between a few drivers as they try and tiptoe around the circuit, not wanting to be caught out with incident points. Now, once again, incident points can be a pain in the backside to deal with. And once you get your first drive through, it keeps coming back over and over and over again. And that current, you can see a couple of those drivers flirting with it. Johnson van Arshagen, who is first into the pits, he's currently on 6 incident points, and he ties it up with Werner Skuman and Luke Lucchese, both on 7 incident points. Jacques Ava on 12 incident points, and this is just by complete off tracks the whole time. Jurian Piswat, 1 incident. Justin Elof, 2. Sean Stradham, 2. Julian Familiaris, unfortunately, we're not getting a reading out on our timing table, but taking a look, Julian Familiaris actually sitting with 0 off tracks at current. He hasn't even put a wheel off dirt. Wow, that's actually rather impressive, I won't lie. If you know the likes of Setston and how rigorous these track limits can become and how much of a pain they can really be to your race, to not put a wheel wrong is rather impressive. But it also shows that the drivers needing to really work out where the pace is needed and how can they carry that corner momentum, because as we get closer and closer, you're going to land up feeling that pain right and royally. So drivers needing to try and see what's going to be the big plan here, how they're going to carry the momentum, and where are they going to get through. So after 19 incidents, folks, we will see the likes of drive-through penalties starting to be implemented. So 19 incidents is when the first drive-through will be sent in for our drivers, and that's where we're going to be watching a concern, because that is going to change how this race goes, as likes of Johnson van Arshagen, Noah Hendricks, and Mark Heron, who has now pulled into the pits, will be getting their pit stops done and dusted to ensure that they can keep on the race and see if they can keep on going. Our current fight out on track, Sean Stradham with the likes of Julian Familiaris, who slides the tail out, and I am so surprised he didn't put a wheel wrong there. That would cause a off track. Still staying within it though, just absolutely just at this point, as the drivers try and figure out what the next plan is, what's the next strategy, and what do they need to do to stay ahead of their fellow competitors. If we do take a look off the gearbox of the McLaren, you can see how close Julian Familiaris actually makes up under braking, but just can't put the power down enough to get that Mustang to get underneath. And immediately, as we do that, Sean Stradham into the box, pulling in, getting himself sorted. Jurian Piswat sets the fastest lap time of the race of 146.145, and well, that is getting into some wild times there for the likes of Jurian Piswat. Justin Elof running in second place with Julian Familiaris in third. Werner Skuman lying in fourth. Luke Lucchesi a little bit further back has got the likes of Werner Skuman in his sights. Bert Hildenace now pulling into the pits. Bradley Searle is now in sixth. So Bradley Searle hoping that he can get that little bit more momentum. He's got Jacques Haver closing down on him. And now we got Bego Krobler with Paul Herber trying to keep away from Yaz Samai, who is so busy with Nico Killerman at the moment. Jakob van der Lith a little bit further back, trying to close up that gap as well. First of those that have done their pit stop, Sean Stradham, followed by Bert Hildenace, along with Mark Heron, Johnson von Volkswagen, and rounding out the pack though, Noah Hendricks. No retirements during the course of this race, but definitely some later pit stops are being implemented by our drivers to see where they can get that little bit of momentum. And it is going to be a very, very interesting race. Luke Lucchesi hoping to close up to Werner Skuman at the moment. And let's see how this is going to work out for him. And once again, Luke Lucchesi sporting those colours, remembering Ryan Ottens, a good friend of his and a good friend to the Lucchesi family that had so much to talk about. Luke hoping that Werner Skuman, who's just keeping ahead of him, was looking towards the pit lane, not this time, and will be sticking it out on the way through. Currently out in the virtual grandstands as well, we do have Paul Fenter going and jumping in. Paul, honestly, you can go and take a look. Once you've got your MSA e-license, you can go get your sub, or there will be a special running with the likes of iRacing during Black Friday. So always a good time then to get those renewals in. Yes, MI sitting in 12th position, now drops to 13th as Sean Stradham gaining yet another time. Maybe that pit stop just worked out that it will carry him through. Jacques Van Erlen going and echoing the sentiment of hopefully the pit stop wasn't too early. Slowly the gains are coming through though, and pit lane times are taking a bit of time for it. So if we go and look at roughly what our pit stop times are going to be looking like, let's see if we can pull that up and get an idea for those that have pitted. It's 21.4 seconds to 29 seconds. That is our pit lane time, and maybe Sean Stradham has enough at current, sitting only 4 seconds behind Jakob van der Lith, so he will have an opportunity there. Nico Killerman, he's now 12 seconds, a little bit too far ahead. Unless a mistake happens, that will be absolutely crucial in this running order, and we will have to look at what's going to be the best opportunity. Big impact though, Justin Eloff has just pulled into the pits from second place, looking to undercut Yuri Umpi-Swart as Yuri sets yet again the fastest lap of the race, a 1:46.032. Julian Familiaris will continue on the drive in second place. Werner Skuman followed by Luke Lucchesi in fourth position on the way through, and we got Bradley Searle a little bit further back in fifth. Jacques Haver running in sixth. Seventh is Johan Bego-Krobler. Paul Herber will then take a position. Justin Eloff keeping an eye on that relative, starts to get a little bit of movement out of the pit lane. Is it going to be enough though, as we see Nico Killerman in the McLaren going and making his way round? Is it going to be enough? And he's across it. So Nico Killerman going and gaining a position, but Justin Eloff just gets ahead of Sean Stradham, who only now exits turn one after his pit stop. Sean Stradham now needs to make up some serious time to Justin Eloff, who is getting held back and now just gotten past Nico Killerman on the running order here. So Nico can do Stradham a bit of a favor by going and fighting it out with him. And now Nico Killerman hasn't pitted, but he has every right to fight for that position, as well they're still on the lead lap, and Nico looking to gain as much time as possible to ensure he can stop those that try to undercut in the pit stop during the course of this race to keep themselves going. 28 minutes have gone by, and drivers are starting to feel it now. The fatigue's starting to kick in. Now that the track is starting to warm up, everything's starting to become clearer, as Snetterton's usual mist has lifted and drivers are able to get going. Julian Familiaris and Yuri Swart into the pits. Werner Skuman, though, deciding not, while Luke Lucchesi will be bailing into the pits as well. So Werner Skuman going for a later approach, something we have seen in the past with Werner Skuman in Assetto Corsa Competizione and in iRacing. Goes for those later pit stops as late as he can into the race to try and minimize time loss. Jacques Evert in the pit, Vega Krobler, Paul Gerber into the pit, and Justin Eloff will be smiling all the way to the bank as he gains 5 positions on the exit. Is he close enough to Julian Familiaris? Yes, he is. He gets ahead of Julian Familiaris and will continue on the drive. Nico Killerman gets on by as he rejoins into the fight. This is going to be a proper run. Mark Heron, unfortunately, yellow flags for him. Let's quickly go and take a look. This is Mark Heron for the S-Metric Racing team. And did the Ferrari get unsettled? Oh, man, big hits over the curb. And immediately going and getting caught up on it. He's able to save, but those tires are definitely not going to be liking him. So Julian Familiaris trying to make his way through. Sean Stradham losing out a bit of time to Noah Hendricks, who gets on by, and Noah actually coming off the gas, saying, well, look, I'm just proving a point here. I may be a little bit further down the pack, but I am still in for the fight if you give me the opportunity. So despite being in 17th place, but despite being a lap down, still showing his nose that he's able to contest when needed to. So if something does have to happen, Noah Hendricks does have an opportunity to get a lap back on the rest of the field. Julian Familiaris now keeping a bit of pressure on Nico Killerman out there in the Dutex McLaren 720S against the Mustang GT3. Werner Skuman now successfully into pit lane with Bradley Searle as well. That means Yuri Swart will look to take those positions back. Justin Eloff will be in second position, and Nico Killerman is hoping that he can just keep up the drive at this point. He's hoping to possibly run that little bit longer. Remember, he has not stopped during the course of this race. He dives into the pits and will release Julian Familiaris and Sean Stradham to continue on their fight for the top 3. So Yuri Swart, Justin Eloff, Julian Familiaris makes his way through. Bradley Searle now exiting the pits, and he will be just popping out right in front of Jacques Evert of the Rhino Utility McLaren, trying everything possible. Is it going to be close enough, though? Maybe under braking. We're going to have that McLaren all over the back of the Ferrari 296, and whoa, a little bit into the dirt as well, just kicking up a little bit. Vega Krobler a little bit further back also, just not the best fan with the likes of the dirt. Nico Killerman trying to get himself going. He will keep an eye on Jakob van der Lith, who is traveling at a rate of knots with Yaz Samai hot on the heels, and both will get on by as we do see Nico Killerman dropping further down. He had to wait so long before he can get back onto the power. Jacques Evert all over Bradley now will ensure he stays in for this fight as a close-up. It is a race down towards the end of it all, looking for the checkered flag, and the only way you're going to go and score some major points in the championship for both drivers is by getting across the line as fast as you can ahead of the competitors. And Jacques Evert not backing down from this one, has got Bradley set in his sight. Bradley, who is now having no slipstream effect from Werner Skuman up ahead, will have to look to try and snap the toe immediately. Looks to move around, trying to get to the middle of the circuit, causing Jacques to get where he's going to get onto the brakes. Worked rather well, but Jacques a little bit late on the anchors. Don't think it was all too planned, but the McLaren did stop, and it did make up a fair chunk of ground onto the back of Bradley. So Jacques hoping that it's going to work out for him, as we do see Hirion Pissoir, Justin Eloff, Julian Familiaris all coming across the line. Sean Stradham, Luke Lucchesi, Werner Skuman, and now we are watching Bradley, who unfortunately puts a wheel in the dirt. It's going to be a drag race into turn 1 for both competitors. The McLaren just having a little bit more top end on the Ferrari 296, but Bradley's not done just yet. Tried going back in for the inside line, not able to get the drive just as much as he would like, but Vego Krubler has slowly but surely been digging a little deeper into this fight and now is within striking distance. So what we've originally gone from the Rhino utility Jacques Ever McLaren with Bradley Searle in that Ferrari 296. Here they're going to square up against the likes of Bego Hrubler, who's going to wait for this perfect opportunity to try and get on by. Bradley up on the inside, gets the likes Jacques off the apex, who goes and loses out the drive, clips the dirt a little bit, and now trying to make his way through. Paul Herber getting caught out as we do see likes of Bego Hrubler throws his hat into the ring, going into a three-way fight between the McLaren, the Ferrari, and the Porsche. The battle of the mid-engines. 4th, 7th, 8th, and 9th position. Jacques having a little bit on the top end. The McLarens naturally have got a lot of power underfoot, but the Ferraris are reasonably quick as well to stay in there. But the best cornering will come from Bego Hrubler in the Porsche if he can just keep close enough and not get caught out with the aero wash that's currently getting blown back by both drivers. Fastest lap of the race, Jurien Pissoir, a 1:45.857 after his pit stop, and is constantly trying to make up some ground. A little bit further back is Jakob van Lith and Yaz Samai. They are fighting in full position as well. It's a great see. Competitors pushing each other to the limit. Bradley now having the toe, really looking if he can make this work for him. Looks around the outside, no movement there, drops a gear down, looks left, looks right, trying everything he can, knocking at the door and seeing where is he going to have an advantage over the likes of the McLaren. Immediately, Bego keeping the pressure onto the back of him, looks around the outside, couldn't quite get the drive, looks for the inside line, not able to get that one going either, and will stay in. These three are going to duke it out in the remaining 10 minutes of this race, and it's all or nothing. No more pit stops, just flat out racing. Who is going to keep it all together? As we do have yellow flags kicking up for Nico Killerman, who unfortunately gone and lost a little bit of drive. Bradley onto the back of Jacques as he looked for the inside. Couldn't quite get that drive just as yet. And phenomenal fighting from these three, as it is a proper dogfight all the way down. Jurien Pissoir leads out the pack. Justin Elioff in second. Julian Familiar is 4 seconds back from him. Sean Stratham runs in 4th place. He was leading out those that did that early pit stop. Unfortunately, couldn't quite get close enough to our top 3. He's got Luke Lucchesi for company though, Werner Skuman, and then we have got this little mid-pack battle of Jacques, Bradley, and Bego, all going and putting a huge amount of pressure on one another. A little bit further back, Bert Hildenaes trying to close up the drive, along with Paul Herber. Mark Heron dying in 12th place with Jakob van der Lith, who is in for a fight with Yaz Samai. Yaz looking for the inside line, and that Audi getting a huge amount of drive, drives around the inside, gets it all hooked in, and beautifully put together on the way through. So great running for him, and now going and clearing up. The likes of Jakob van der Lith, Nico Killerman will be trying to make up some ground with his fellow teammates. Johnson van Arswagen and Noah Hendricks rounds out of the pack, but it is Bradley Searle all over the back of Jacques Haber, and Bradley, huge send on the inside. Is this going to work for the Pandacity driver? He does get it hooked in, and that has opened it up. Oh, that is the 901 of Noah Hendricks, who ran afoul. He is now trying to get himself going, but made life rather interesting on the way through. Noah Hendricks going and losing out. But the question is, how much of a fright did our drivers get? So there is the likes of Noah Hendricks making his way by. We'll watch as he gets turned around on the marbles, stops dead on the circuit, and immediately here comes Jacques off into the dirt, and the likes of Bradley getting that pass done and dusted. Slight clip though by the looks of it, and a bit of aero damage to the back of that car, and that might have been one of these three that took that ever so slight hit, a little bit neck code by the looks of it. That may have been the run order for them. So great racing on the way through, and drivers trying to get that little bit more pace. Jacques, unfortunately, losing out a bit of time to Bradley, and now has Bego Hrubler keeping him a bit of company on the way through. Our closest fight currently on circuit is between these three, and are marching their way through. The most climbs in positions, though, we got to give our hats off to Paul Herber, he has climbed 5 positions off the start of the race and is the only driver to get above 1 position. So, I mean, these are really, really looking wild. Now, I'm starting to get the questions of how is our track cuts looking. Oh, boy. The many, many questions that everyone would love to know when you're in the car. What your competition's got. Well, there it is, folks. 19 is drive-through. At current, Mark Heron sitting on 11. John van Arswagen's on 11. Jacques Sever has successfully got 20. So he has got a drive-through that needs to be served, 21, by putting a wheel off on the dirt, and will have to go and serve a drive-through or get that penalty going and added to his time. And at the moment, in the fight with Bego Krobler. But you can see how close it is. Luke Lucchesi sitting on 16 at this current point. Well, make it 17th because, well, you go and mention it, and it is commentator's curse. Chris, I hope you are well, and I hope you're enjoying it, but maybe it was a question not quite to answer, and maybe one that was better hidden away for our drivers out there. Bit of frustration will kick in, but you definitely can be sure that drivers are communicating with their teams back in the pit boxes and finding out what they are doing. So, 39 minutes and 55 seconds done of this race. Moving on to 40 minutes. There will be 5 minutes left of the race. Jurien Pissoir leads out the pack. Justin Eloff running in second. Julian Familiaris runs in third along with Sean Stratham. Luke Lucchesi runs in 5th place. In the old school Alpha Esport 1 colours, remembering Ryan Ottens. Werner Skuman comes on by. Bradley is going and tailing behind. Jacques has got 3 laps to serve his penalty and will be going another lap in this. Oi, 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 this is going to be a fight and a half. He is flirting with the likes of our stewards, as we do see Bego Krobler put a wheel wrong as well, and right behind them, slowly but surely, going and chipping away. Bert Kildenace is in for the fight as well, trying to close up on the order. Paul Herber a little bit further back is being a bit of a master assassin at this point, 5 positions up from where he started, and Mark Heron lying in 12th. 13th position, Yaz Semai, Jaco van der Lith, followed by Nico Killerman, who is ahead of his fellow teammate, John van Arswagen, as the 2 Dutex Sim Racing Works McLarens look to keep ahead of Noah Hendricks, who dives into pit lane. So Noah Hendricks getting his drive-through done and dusted. Now, unfortunately, not an ideal one. Actually coming to a stop in the box. No, he's not. Just baiting us. Thanks, Noah. I'd like, just calling my bluff there, buddy. I really appreciate that. I know you're busy streaming out there, and I will most probably go and write a bit of comments saying, don't do that. You're making me look bad. Cue the old Courage the Cowardly Dog meme of you going and making me look bad. I couldn't quite do it properly. But Jacques Ever all over likes of Bradley, trying to make up some time. Remember, he still needs to serve that drive-through that's implemented. This track absolutely going and hurting at the moment. So out of those, they want to just take a look at the best lap times for our drivers in the last little bit. And our drivers hoping to get that little bit of momentum underneath them, as we do have Bego Krobler strangely closer to Bert Kildenace. Also out of a fair amount of drive and is making his way through. So good to see the drivers going and pushing, but there is the best lap time set by all the drivers for current in this race. So that is the top times that each of the drivers have been doing to ensure that they can stay in for the fight immediately. Jurien Pissoir staying at the top of the pack and will be making their way through. iRatings of those drivers, well, Jurien Pissoir sitting with a 4.5k iRating against Justin Eloff with a 3.1. Julian Familiaris with a 4.5k iRating. So definitely going and showing off what they can do. And for those that are just curious, what's the strength of field? Well, there it is at the top of the screen. Strength of field is sitting roughly about 2.7k on the running order. So huge run there, and if you want to go and fight it out, well, there's definitely a grid for you. As Jurien Pissoir comes on by, 43 minutes completed, we'll get another lap on our competitors as he continues on with the Acura NSX, also known as the Honda NSX. He's got Justin Eloff trying to make up some time, gets past the likes of Noah Hendricks on the 901, who gives him a little bit of room. And Julian Familiaris will be the next one, slowly closing up that gap as much as possible in the big Mustang. The front engine, the only front engine, might I add, in this field, running in the top 3. That Mustang is showing off what it can do and will have a lot of competitors going and thinking, what do I need to do to make it work? Luke Lucchese going and swinging the car on by, trying to get a little bit of momentum. He's running down in 5th place with Werner Skuman chasing him down of the Pandassi team. Bradley going and running in 7th position. Jonks, though, will be continuing on the drive, and he still needs to get that drive-through done and dusted. Bego Krobler has closed up the gap, but they've got Bert for company at this point. He's making his way by and hoping to just try and gain one more position. He's currently sitting in the top 10, but 9th place wouldn't be a bad one at all. Maybe 8th on the way through is going to be the ideal run through it all. As our drivers maintain a constant pace, we now 20 seconds off the end of our race. 45 minutes of racing, 1 mandatory pit stop, swap out of tires to get in for the order. And this Acura NSX of Yurion Piswat has been on a phenomenal charge and will be coming across the line to take the checkered flag. Yurion Piswat wins the race and scores maximum points. Justin Eloff keeps the championship's hopes alive as he finishes in 2nd. There was 1 point separating the two when they came into this race, and now there's a little bit more of fresh air between the two of them. Julian Familiaris runs in 3rd, keeping his championship hopes alive. Sean Stratham, despite it all, gets in 4th place with his pit stop strategy coming into fruition. Ryan Otten's very own livery with Luke Lucchese comes in the top 5, going and running that memory straight to the top of the order. Great to see. Werner Skuman will take the likes of 6th position. Bradley running in the likes of 7th. 8th place, Jacques will come across the line ahead of Bego Krobler. Oh boy, we'll have to see how that is going to look with the incident points. Might have left it a tad too late, but Bert Kildenace, huge run on him, closing up a gap to 1.3 seconds when he came across the line after a nearly 4-second deficit not too long ago. Paul Herber runs in 11th. Mark Heron gets across the line with Yaz Samai running in 13th. Jaco van der Lith will take 14th position in the Rhino Utility ahead of Nico Killerman in the Dutex Simworks with the likes of Johnson van Alswagen running in 16th, and Noah Hendricks will round out the pack for tonight. Absolutely incredible stuff from our drivers, and what a race, folks. Everyone putting in such a consistent effort to stay in for the top of the order, and with the absolute racing we had right the way through, you can't take it away from our incredible drivers for round 4 of the championship. Man, oh man, what an exciting time. And that being said, let's quickly take a look back at our results, and we will be interviewing the drivers as they come on through. So let's take a look at our results for the race. We have got Yurion Piswat taking the win ahead of Justin Eloff. Julian Familiaris runs in 3rd with Sean Stratham, Luke Lucchese, Werner Skuman, Bradley Surley, Jacques Ever, Bego Krobler, Bert Hildenace along with Paul Herber, Mike Heron, Yaz Semai, Jaco van Lith, Nico Killerman, Johnson van Alswagen, and Noah Hendricks rounds out the pack. Well, that's going to see how it's all going to turn out when it comes down to our stewards. But let's have a chat to some of our drivers as they'll be coming through to the commentary box to have a bit of an interesting time with us. And I do see first to the box is our 2nd place driver, Justin Eloff, to come and have a chat to us. So let's bring him into the commentary box. Justin Eloff, welcome to the commentary box. Man, oh man, what a race on your part. Going and putting in a fantastic time in qualifying, getting to duke it out in the race. Unfortunately, not able to score that 1st place, but really took the fight to the sharp end of the field for the first half of the race.
Yeah, it was that's good quali. Kind of unexpected. I wasn't expecting to be on pole, honestly. So yeah, I'm very happy with where I finished. I wasn't super comfy with the track yet, and I think second is great to come away with.
Well, with the track conditions evolving so much, I mean, when you started, a lot of mist, a lot of you can't see much out there. How was your planning going into this race? And when it started to get a little bit brighter, it started to get a bit easier. Did you feel that everything started coming back to you?
It was actually the opposite. I kind of got used to the fog and all the markers we have for that, and as soon as I got behind Yuri in the hot air and the sun came out, I think I just cooked my tires and brakes a little bit, and it took me a while to get back into the rhythm. But like I say, I'm very happy with how I did.
Oh, absolutely great stuff. I mean, coming into the championship, 1 point separating you for this race. A little bit of daylight between yourself and Yuri on Piswat. What's the game plan heading into 2 weeks' time when we return for our GT3 racing here at the beautiful iRacing service on Raceface.Pro?
Yeah, I mean, I think Yuri is quite far ahead in the championship right now. He's won quite a bit. It's always a chance to come back and so forth. But honestly, my goal coming in was just to like learn and experience. It is my first season, so if I'm second or third, that'd be very happy with that. So happy with this race and happy with how it's going so far.
Absolutely phenomenal, phenomenal stuff. Next circuit is going to be a bit of an interesting one as we do head to Hockenheim, who, as we know, can be a rather tricky circuit. Something that are you familiar with Hockenheim, or is it one that's going to be definitely doing quite a few laps around?
No, every week is a track I haven't driven yet, so we'll just as is get on the track, learn it quickly, try to do well.
Absolutely great stuff. Well, I have to say, incredible, incredible racing. Justin Eloff, before I let you go, anything you want to say to our incredible, incredible drivers, teams, and more importantly, our absolute petrol heads that just come in and week out to enjoy the racing action?
Yeah, just thanks everybody that's watching the league. Thank you, Stephen and Luke and Harber for setting up the league. I think you guys are doing a good job. It's fun to participate. And like Yuri says, it's one of the biggest reasons to turn the sim on is to come here and participate with a bunch of South Africans. It's really great. So thanks for all that.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Well, looking forward to seeing the rest of the season. 1 point separated you and the likes of Yuri and Piswat, but your drop rounds utilized. Well, Yuri and Piswat has got one more drop round to play with, so it's all on the cards for the running order, but you are ahead of Julian Familiaris. So let's see how this is all going to turn. Looking forward to chatting to you in 2 weeks' time. Justin Eloff, an incredible, incredible driver, and also going and putting in a huge effort. Debut season, fighting it out for the top 3 in the championship, and also getting to take the fight to champions in the Raceface.Pro. So, next up, we're going to bring to the box is our one and only Honda that's out there on the circuit, Yuri Piswat in the Acura. Yuri, great to have you, and what a race out there. A bit of a difficult start with the likes of Justin Eloff getting the jump on you in qualifying, but as the race continued, how do you feel about it?
How's it, Stephen? Yeah, first of all, just like to obviously dedicate that race to Ryan. Thanks, guys, for all the representation you've done towards him, and yeah, just want to say that he was a fantastic friend, and yeah, really just want to dedicate that race to Ryan. Just want to put that out there. And yeah, in terms of the race, super enjoyable. Justin pulled the rabbit out the hat in qualifying. Very naturally quick driver. I had a bit of a scruffy lap, but all in all, it wasn't good enough. And yeah, super awesome side-by-side action on the first lap. Again, I reiterate, like Justin, super clean. Like I had a chance to be aggressive, but I thought, what, he didn't deserve it. He left me all the space in the world. Super clean driver. Held the pressure well. It did look to me like he maybe pushed a bit hard on his tires. And then I tried to sort of back off a bit and then come back at him, and then it looked like he got a little bit of a mistake and caused him to get a slowdown, gave me the chance. Obviously not the easiest track to pass. But then, yeah, once it was clear air, it could just sort of get in the rhythm. And this track is all about rhythm, eh? It's a very difficult track. It's all about keeping the tire temps cold. Because with all that sort of left, right braking zones, you know, you really can score the surface of the tire. So, yeah, but all in all, really enjoyed it. Obviously, would have loved it to be a bit closer, but still, Justin, that was a solid performance for someone as inexperienced as him. Really good.
Well, taking a look at the conditions, what did you think about having the heavy fog at the start and slowly lightening up as time continued? Did you find it a little bit difficult to get used to, or was it one of those, oh, that's where the rest of the track is?
Yeah, it's a funny thing. I was actually talking to Julian in the Discord before. Like, the fog affects me a lot because the way I drive is I drive very much in the distance. Like, I look very far ahead all the time. All my markers and stuff are like sort of, if you had to gauge like turn one, like my brake marker would be something on the exit of one type of thing. So fog gets to me a lot. Because I like to drive looking very far forward. It just came from obviously racing closely in Polo Cup, and that, you know, you can't really always have a brake marker right in front of you because there's a car there. So makes it difficult. But yeah, I struggled with the fog a little bit. That did definitely affect me. I mean, practice and qualifying. And then, yeah, as soon as it cleared up, you could clearly see the differential in pace, like as soon as the fog cleared up. So it's always been a bit of a weakness of mine when I struggled to see. So yeah, definitely played a big role.
Absolutely tremendous stuff. And going and looking back at the race, also the amazing battles that you've actually had with the likes of Ryan Ottens, you definitely carried a lot of that spirit, a lot of fighting spirit to the sharp end of the field. If you had to take a picture moment, though, of all your escapades with Ryan Ottens on and off the track, and you had to frame a special moment, what would be that moment to you?
Honestly, like, it's a funny story, but Ryan he did this UK league with Lucchese and them, and I joined them one night, but I wasn't part of it, and I raced as like a ghost with them. And I was messing around driving, but obviously I'm a ghost on iRacing because I'm not part of a league. And I'm driving backwards and forwards and pretending to take Ryan out while he was going to get his first league race, but I'm a ghost. So it was a very funny like evening. I was driving backwards pretending to take him out. We were laughing on the Discord for about 2-3 hours of that. Yeah, like I say, Ryan, he was obviously more friends with Luke. You know, I knew him on like sort of after the race. We chat a bit, mess around, talk a lot. But yeah, just such a super humble guy. Like, that's the main thing I always knew about him. Just so humble. So yeah, it really is such a massive loss for the community. Honestly, like, he had nothing but positivity. So yeah, but all in all, you know, we have nothing but fond memories, and yeah, you know, like I said, for this evening, we all raced on the Discord together for the first time, just because it was a different kind of race for us. You know, we just wanted to just enjoy it, and, you know, like, just all be together. And yeah, like I say, from my side, it's a very, very deep loss. He wasn't like, we weren't ultra close in that sense, but every time I would make an effort to chat to him because he just was always such a receiving guy and just such an awesome guy to have a conversation with. So.
Oh, it's absolutely great to hear some of the stories of great laughs and enjoyable times. But now I've got to ask a critical question. So we're getting closer and closer to the end of the championship, considering there is lying with 4 more rounds. Next round, Hockenheim on the 18th of March. How are you feeling? You're leading out the championship, not by much, but you still have that drop round in your pocket.
Yeah, I think been lucky to not have had to have an incident as of yet. I've been taking some risks on lap 1 here and there, like Donington and even at Daytona with Justin and stuff. But I thought, you know, the drop round does allow for that. That's why I think it's a great addition to the league, because it does allow guys to have a little bit more daringness. You know, because like if something does go wrong, at least you know you can subsidize. But yeah, no, I think, look, I don't know how the Acura will be on Hockenheim. Genuinely, again, like I said, I switched my computer on last night again. So, and I think I'll find out in 2 weeks on Monday. But I have a feeling it's not going to be the best. I just have a feeling too much top end. You know what I mean? So we'll see. I think the Porsche going to be very strong, especially in that final sector. But I think there's some tracks after that should play to my strength. So I think just try and cement a solid result at Hockenheim and just try and be consistent in the top 3, and yeah, that's our championships are won, eh?
Okay, so you're looking forward to Long Beach?
Yes,
Okay.
I think I love street tracks. Always been a big thing for me. I love street tracks, so I'm super excited. I think as you can see in Bathurst, like I'm not afraid of walls. So I'm excited for Long Beach. I love getting as close to the walls as I can. So it's always an exciting one for me. I'll definitely put a bit of effort in for that one. It's an awesome track.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, before I let you go, anything you want to say to our amazing partners here at Raceface.Pro and to the drivers, the teams, and most importantly, the amazing petrol heads sitting out in the virtual grandstands?
Yeah, no, just everybody for supporting and tuning in all the time. If my Oma and Opa are still watching, a shout out to them. They always love to watch my online races. So, and yeah, just obviously to the Raceface community, you know, awesome bunch of guys. Again, the reason I switched my computer on. So, and it will be the reason again next time. So hopefully I can be here to tell you that again. It means I've had a good race. But no, thanks guys. Always such a positive environment. And yeah, I think you guys have really created something special, as I said last time. So yeah, hopefully next time I can reiterate the same message. But thanks again for allowing us this platform to share our passion.
Absolutely. Great stuff to have you. Yuri Swart going and getting the win and also extending his lead in the championship. Well, folks, absolutely incredible racing. That looks like our only two to come and have a conversation with us tonight. Obviously, Brett is a little bit bad. That's keeping the likes of Julian Familiaris away from the microphone. But let's go and take a look. Our championship is going to be moving on to Hockenheim on March 18th. We invite you to have a bit of fun with us. Next week, though, we're going to be heading on to round 5 of our Gen 3 supercars versus our BMW M2s. They're going to be duking it out and really seeing who will have the edge. The beautiful V8s, they'll roar around, but no ABS, no traction control. Means you've got to really get used to braking that little bit more gently through the corners. Otherwise, it just gets a little bit difficult out there. But we have also got some racing tomorrow night for our Raceface.Pro GT3 Sprint Series. And do tune in at 8:10 as we go and bring you some more action for some GT3 racing here at Raceface.Pro. Thursday night, we will continue on with the Raceface.Pro GT3 Championship. 1 hour and 20 minutes, 2 mandatory pit stops that need to be served. Championship also rather close, and I can tell you there has been some very interesting conversations amongst the different drivers. We'll get into that tomorrow evening and give you a bit of a breakdown of what's been happening in the world of Raceface. Also getting some notes here as well. Luke Lucchesi going and sending a huge shout out to all and a well done to the winners. Also dedicating his race to the likes of Ryan Ottens and his family. So big shout out from Luke Lucchesi and the entire Lucchesi family to Ryan Ottens and his family. Luke also going and putting together the MSA BMW M2 CS race that will be happening out on Sunday. And do take a look for details on that at Raceface.Pro. We do have links to all that is happening on Sunday to go and have some BMW fun, fixed setup, and a car that's all the same. So free track, free car, all the same, fixed setup. It's down to drivers. Big shout out to our partners here at Raceface.Pro. Rhino Utility for jumping on board with us this season. Scallywags Drifting Academy going and being with us yet again, along with Red Star Raceway. Without them being a part of the show, the show would actually slow down quite a bit. So big shout out to them. Thank you to our admin and stewards that have been working tirelessly behind the scenes here at Raceface.Pro. And also a monster shout out to our drivers, teams, and families, all going and being a part of this amazing community. And last but not least, a huge well done and thank you to you, the petrol heads sitting out there in the virtual grandstands, cheering on week in and week out. And honestly, it's the reason why we come back to the circuit to put on such an epic show. If you wish to join us on the grid, head over to Simgrid, look up Raceface.Pro, and join us out on the grids for Le Mans Ultimate, ACC, iRacing, and so much more to come. Also, feel free to join us in our Discord here at Raceface.Pro, and hit that subscribe button, hit that like icon if you're gone and really enjoyed this racing here at Setting, and also if you're enjoying the season. Let us know down in the comments what was your favorite part of the race and what you're looking forward to in this championship as the fight between Yuri Swart, Justin Eloff, and Julian Familiaris continues throughout this season. And like always, folks, make sure you go and have a very, very safe evening. Like always, Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody.